It is time. Let's go. We've got an hour.
That's all.
So
It says till
I know what that says.
1 hour. Yeah, that was only if we could meet
hoping
at the
you'll let me
brewery
do
like
that
we wanted, but
tomorrow.
since we can't, we
Yeah.
don't want
I
to.
got my in-laws over.
You've actually
So you want to stay longer, Paul?
Yeah.
They
Bill
brought
needs
over,
to
they brought
make
over
it
their dump trailer, so.
All right. Why don't you talk to us about the liquor store, Bill?
So, as you can see, everything's moving along really quickly. So, windows are in, asphalt's in, sheet rock's up, it's painted. Today the coolers showed up. Dan's crew unloaded the trailer, and then they're gonna load the doors tomorrow for us to help us out. HVAC's going in, wiring's going in, break room cupboards were put in today, false ceiling brackets were put in today. We've had a little issue with mudding and taping of some of the joints, so they've got to come back, they're gonna have to retexture and then come back to repaint at no cost to us. The steel for the roof and the siding will be in Friday, be put on next week. Unfortunately, the soffits have to be punched and put in. They won't be done until the 28th of October, which will be fine for us. The sign company guy is coming in on Friday or on Wednesday for the final approval. We have it staked out where the sign's going to go facing the highway. He needs to do his bit, and that should be installed here in the next 3-4 weeks. The attic's going to get installed with insulation, and ceiling tile be put on the 20th. Internet's going to be on the 29th and 30th. And I'm kind of looking the week between Thanksgiving and deer hunting to move. But that's tentative. One of my vendors has a family thing going on, which might slow that a bit, but we've got time. So, and I want to make sure before we move, everything is set in place. Right now, the only extra expense we should have on the building part of it, I did not know there was 5 different kinds of mudding and taping that you could do, and they were worried about shadows with our lights. So we spent $1,200 to do a knockdown ceiling, but I've been there just about every day the last couple of weeks, and it's going really well. So they've already seeded along the curbs. They've got to do on Quick Trip side, but they're waiting for that asphalt to get. It's awful warm for asphalt last week, so they're trying to keep much of the big traffic off there that they can. Handicap signs we got to get up yet. So there's a lot of outside stuff to do, but it's for the most part, the inside looks really good. They're going to start installing the counters tomorrow. My liquor board asked that I buy an office set that match. I found one from a friend of ours for $130 for the whole thing. So we're making some cuts there. So the most other things we've got a freezer coming in. That was $3,500, but the rest of it has been $250 to $500 for headsets for the staff so we can follow them. Reed Ringstead and I are going to do the speakers ourselves for the sound system. That was $250. So we got about 10,000 in little things, but for the most part, we're right on where we should be. So it's going.
We had approved some money for you to buy like the coolers and things like that we couldn't really definitively quote out, right?
Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The little things I've been using out of my savings.
How are we, like, where did we come in at with the cooler as far as final cost and things?
Under where we're supposed to for the cooler, because we're reusing our refrigeration unit at the old store, which saved us tremendously. So, but that'll be right under budget. Same with the shelving. The sets are done. I've already approved. We reached out to Budweiser and to Johnson Brothers. We've worked the sets. I've resent what I think we should change, and then they've sent it back, so we're set. We'll stick a sticker up there, and this is what's going to go everywhere. So, but then the moving will be 2 to 3 days, and I'm working with the state to where we can have a license to have liquor in both places. The THC, they don't know what they're doing right now because it's a new license setup, and I called and asked how were you supposed to handle that. They didn't know, so they're going to get back to me on that. So we got a lot of irons in the fire.
Is the roofing steel?
Yes.
And what color?
Brown.
Brown?
Yes.
Good.
And
It might be green.
No,
Siding
reddish.
is steel also.
Yeah, steel. The poles, the roof is brown, the window trim will be brown, the poles will be brown, gutters will be brown,
And how high is the sign?
30 feet.
We went higher, remember? It was lower and then we bumped.
We went
it.
20, we bumped up to 10 more feet.
How high was McDonald's?
That's a lot higher yet.
Oh,
That's
really?
gotta be, that's gotta be 60 at least.
Wow.
And ours,
30 will be visible from the
well,
freeway?
you've got McDonald's here, we're here, Quick Trip here.
Right.
So we're a little further over, so our sign is gonna be facing the highway. Coming northbound, you'll see, because you always see Painesville Liquor. And then what we show here will be more visible southbound, eastbound, or westbound, I mean. So,
And then back where the garbage dump, there's not gonna be tar?
no, that's gonna be gravel right now.
And that'll work for time
Right.
being?
Class 5, yes. That is more for trailers to turn around. There's plenty of parking up, but we wouldn't have an area that if people came in with campers, boats, that they could turn around. And same with my semis, because when they turn around, they're gonna dig. So we'd rather have them go into the gravel and then back in. So, worked with security system, door, little things like door locks today. So we're gonna have keypad for the staff, for the back door entrance, certain things for locks. Security system's gonna be really good. A lot of cameras, which will, inside and out, we'll have 16 cameras. We'll be able to see everything from the office and up front. So,
Sounds good.
a lot of thought.
Are you gonna have any that hit the road?
All parking lot right now.
How about the entrance?
Coming in, yes. We have several outside.
No, the entrance into the parking lot.
Don't know yet. I'd have to relook at those plans. I was more worried about the back end where my staff is and my garbage back there where people like to throw in garbage.
I know, but with it being a city building, it might be nice to, you know, if you ever.
We probably do.
If you ever ended up with something, it'd be nice to get something that hit the driveway that maybe picked up the road as
There's
well.
several outside on the north side, or on the west side. There's gotta be a camera out there. I know there is.
Just wants to use your fridge.
I want one that picks up the entrance into the parking lot. That gets the road.
We'll see about that. We'll check into that.
Do you just want us to put up a pole camera?
Maybe you should
Maybe one of those
share
fun
some.
trailers?
No, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, just even with the building itself.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody comes from the backside from, you know, and were to do anything from Subway, you know, Yarmouth, Ford, that particular area,
That's covered.
and happen to be able to come around and head out, you know, front license plates may not be there, rear license plates may, but again, we end up with something even at Quick Trip, catching vehicles coming and going. The Shields homicide was a prime example, right? We got video we needed of when Greg left that development because of fleet supply and the fact that their cameras caught that intersection. So,
We'll have to check. I don't have those plans with me right now, but I know we have several outside, because I was worried about my staff and customers as well, so coming in and out. But we'll look.
So overall, you're about, what, 75% under budget?
So far, yeah. Right now, the construction part of it, we're right on task. I just had a talk with the ringleader today, and he can't think of anything else other than the $1,200 we spent. But I need to sit down with Chuck. We're getting some pretty big bills that there's been a lot of changes. So I need to address that, and I'll be looking into that.
Okay.
So, but for the most part, it's gone, even with the way the weather's been. The construction people, Project One's part of it, are gonna be in great shape. There's no doubt in my mind that they will meet that construction time. The only thing that could hold us up is our big sign, because they are behind the 8 ball, but that's not Project One, that's on us, because we did that ourselves, so. And if you ever want to see it, it's pretty cool.
How long do we have the lease at Teal? shovels?
till December 31st. Tarek sent them a letter. That part has been done, and then Andrea will come down, I believe, the 31st and take a peek. Yeah. So,
But at least after we move, you can still have a sign in the door that says catch us at our new spot.
correct. And then I have a friend that will help change the Google online, and then we'll have that all changed on all of our online presence as well. So when people search.
And the Mickey Mouse sign by Casey's will be coming down.
That's gone. But we just paid for it a couple months ago, so we're gonna keep it up until, but we'll have to change that. Budweiser did that for free. It's very minimal cost on that, but we need that to come down. So, a couple other things we're working out is Dan with the snow blowing and moving the snow. We'll work that out as we get closer. We'll have our own snow blower and shovels, so we can help out there. But, yeah, it's been good.
Sounds good to me.
Anything else you need to tell us? Otherwise, I'll let you get home to the birthday girl.
I can't think, I've covered a lot. You know, there's ongoing things every day. But for the most part, Project One's been really good to work with. The electricians have been fantastic. Every little detail they've gone through with me, that's really been helpful. So, just even raising, you know, they just didn't put it by code, by what the architects, he asked me how high our shelves were gonna be, and they were gonna be below shelf height. So we got everything moved up, and that part's gone really well. So, yeah, so far the hiccups have been really minimal so far.
Good.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, Bill.
thanks.
She needs to answer some questions for me tomorrow, so don't keep her, you know, like, don't be partying all night or anything crazy like that.
Her dad's cooking, her dad's cooking.
So,
So,
All right,
good
we
deal.
don't have anyone here from the fire department, so we'll move on. PD.
So to give you an update, the guys are coming down to the end of their nuisance enforcement. They've been given until the end of this month before I go on my sabbatical to clean up the remainder of the properties that are there. All told, I think they probably addressed anywhere between 15 to 20 different properties across the city. I think we probably issued citations on at least a half dozen or more. So that will hopefully be taken care of here soon. And if not, then we will address those issues. But any properties that are not cleaned up, especially those that have been issued citations, will probably eventually come to the council for abatement. So I know probably one of the biggest ones right now is over on Minnesota Street. That one, you know, I've driven by it a couple times. Unfortunately, a lot of that property is just clutter. And clutter, unfortunately, is not a violation. I would encourage us within policies and procedures to look at our ordinance. One of the biggest things is our ordinance calls everything a hazardous condition versus a public nuisance. And that, you know, riled some people up saying, I don't have hazardous conditions in my yard. And, you know, I think we could do a lot better at defining different things to make it a little bit more clear on the things that we see as a city that are significant issues to be able to deal with than what we currently have, so.
I had heard at one time he was thinking about a fence.
I've heard the same thing, but
Would that solve the issue or not really?
no, technically you put up a fence. I mean, it keeps people from complaining and keeps it from being an eyesore. But at the end of the day, it doesn't negate the violations. I mean, he's still, you know, whether you have a fence up or not, you're still required to have your yard cleaned up. So, but like I said, he's done a lot. I don't know if he's still got a bunch of tires, but I know he used to have a bunch of tires out there. A good number of those are gone.
Seems like a lot of lumber.
Part of it too is it's more of a zoning issue. You know, it has the appearance that he's doing some sort of a home-based business construction, building different things like that, which technically in that area, I don't know if it actually would technically qualify. So, you know, from the zoning side of things, if that's what he's doing, I mean, if the lumber's neatly stacked and stuff like that, is it a violation? Isn't it a violation? I mean, that's why I think really addressing our nuisance ordinances and saying, okay, what are we going to define as best as we can as nuisances would help to go a long way. You know, one of our other troubled properties over the years, you know, they were using pallets as a mechanism for decking around a pool. Okay, is it a violation? Isn't it a violation? I don't see it necessarily as one, but
Doing what?
using decking or pallets for decking around a pool.
A lot of people do that.
But is it a violation? You know, so you've got pallets and you maybe have a couple that haven't been used yet that are leaning up against the house. Is it a violation? So, you know, it's, and we've talked about this, and we've talked about this for years. You know, how far do we want to go as a city to identify and tell people how they can live on their property? There's a point, and we all acknowledge and understand that there is a point.
It's just hard because it's a very hard thing to put a, you know, it's what looks really tacky to somebody is not to another person, and that's, like, if we're gonna get into like people's home-based business, I mean, my neighbor makes like cornhole boards and sells them. Are we gonna go after him? You know, like, a lot of people do that. They make stuff and they sell it on Etsy or they sell it whatever. Like, where's the line? If it's outside and you can see it, like, I don't know.
And I think that, I think to your point, I think that is probably the line, right? It's no different than you can't run a mechanic shop out of your house,
Yeah.
right?
What happens if they claim that they're an artist? Then that opens up a whole new situation.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I need this from art supplies, I got a project going on, it's taking a while, but
Well, I think there's a difference though between in a building
yeah,
and outside.
yeah.
The artist to me becomes a bigger problem when it's, I'm decorating my yard.
Or
And-
repurposing old part machinery so someone could put it as an ornament in the front yard. It's a 5-year project, but, you know, they're just gonna come up with an argument of why they need to have it there.
Well, and I think that's why we can do a lot
Yeah,
within our ordinances, right? We acknowledge that people use different things, wagon wheels, toilets, you know, tires that are turned into planters, and people that have taken old tires and repurposed as planters, right? But they're not still as a tire, they are actually as more of a bowl type planter. Okay, well, I don't consider that necessarily art. I wouldn't want that in my yard. However, it's an item that's been repurposed accordingly. And I think, you know, we could go a long way to say, okay, we acknowledge that there are going to be some of these things, but here are the parameters in which we're going to allow you to do this.
and that's what I was leading with, is that the ordinance can be tweaked on it, so we can figure out,
But
make it
then,
a little bit more clear.
if we have, you know, if we're saying like, we're not, you know, when we talk about possibly putting some kind of stipulations on businesses and how many hours they can be open, and people are saying like, well, who's gonna, you know, make sure, who's gonna supervise that? And then we're saying like, you know, we can't get like stray dogs and cats, we can't do this, we can't do that, but somebody's gonna go count, I mean, besides Neil, of course, like, somebody's gonna go count how many planters are in somebody's yard, like, that's,
Well-
what's the difference, you know? Like, I don't know.
But like I said before, okay, the ordinances are on the books as a mechanism to control the, you know, those individuals who go above and beyond, right? It's not the person with a wagon wheel.
Right.
It's the person that has 100 wagon wheels just laying around their yard, right? That's egregious. That's an issue. So, you know, What's that?
It's not higher.
You know, it was like our ordinance, you know, for crossing the double yellow line. Why was it there? Could it have been strictly enforced? Absolutely. Would we have had half the community absolutely ticked off that it was being enforced to the letter of the law? Sure.
Yeah.
But it's there so that when that car decides it's gonna cut straight in front of a semi truck so that they can get a prime spot at New Cara, we have the ability to go up and be like, yeah, no, bad idea, right? We can address the egregious issues and, you know, so are we gonna count it? Maybe, maybe not. As part of our overall nuisance enforcement, that may be part of it, right? You have X in your yard, which is an issue. We need you to bring it down within the rules. I mean, it's whatever ultimately the council decides on what you guys think is appropriate.
Yeah.
But I think we start talking, when we talked about this, like this morning, defining junk vehicles, right? We can do a better job of spelling out what is a defined junk vehicle than what we have in our ordinance.
Well, there's a few around. They have to run correctly,
They do?
and they have to move once every 6 months, or
No,
they never have to move.
they don't have to move.
It's like,
So
they just
then
have
how
to
do
be
you know they run?
able to move. Well, because if you go over there and ask them and they fire it.
If, here's the thing,
They
right?
gotta be tabbed, current tabs, correct?
Correct. And
Collector or whatever you got.
yeah, and what I would recommend in that is, if somebody doesn't have registration on their vehicle and it's a year expired, that would be my recommendation of, you know, to the council is if your vehicle is over a year expired tabs, the city automatically deems it a junk vehicle. Now, they can go and they can buy their tabs and they've now come into compliance, right? But then it still has to be operable, it still has to be able to move, that sort of thing, and we've had somebody
You could
demonstrate.
say, show me it goes ahead and backwards.
Correct. But those vehicles, we're only gonna deal with on a complaint basis, right? I mean, we're not gonna drive around and be like, well, I seem to recall last year at this time, that car was still sitting in the same spot. You know, one of the properties we've dealt with, one of the vehicles there is probably at that point questionable as to whether or not it's actually operable, right? But in that case, at the time
Flat
that we.
tire will give that away.
Yes and no. There was a flat tire down at a apartment
So-
complex down by Neil's residence, and the next day, it was inflated. I mean, stuff like that happens. That one's been sitting for a while.
So if a neighbor complains to one of us, and we tell you, or do they need to directly?
They
tell
should come
you?
and just talk to us.
Okay.
The thing is with the
'Cause I've
nuisance,
had complaints, and I've relayed some.
the nuisance enforcement is easy to a point, right? Identifying them is easy because all of these things are out in the public. Nobody's having to go onto people's property, generally speaking, to see these things, right? So somebody can come to us, they can tell us about it, and we should be able to see it from the road.
So if there's a nuisance or a vehicle or something bothering a neighbor, you are encouraging them to talk to you.
Correct. Not necessarily me, they should talk to an officer.
Right.
But
I
yes,
mean, that's the protocol you want.
correct.
Okay.
Because if we've got, and the thing is it'll give us an opportunity to actually look at whatever it may be and tell them whether it's a violation or not. There's oftentimes that people will complain about different things and they're not actually violations. You had something?
But it's not necessarily nuisance related, it's something I wanted to say I see around town. There's a lot of swimming pools in town. And the ladders are in them and they're unattended all the time. Most places don't allow that. You know, neighbor kid can walk over, climb the ladder and into the pool. Some go so far as to make you fence in a pool, I don't recommend that. But simply pulling a ladder out when it's not in use and there's not an adult. Because I see pools all over town nobody around, ladders in the pool, it's a real hazard.
Well, I know,
Where that falls, I don't know.
so the council's going to be taking up, and we'll get to the tree stuff later, but part of the recommendation from Park and Tree Board is for the council to take up a new tree ordinance this winter. I think it'd also be a good time for us to take up re-looking at the nuisance property ordinance as well. So policies and procedures can start working on that in November here.
Can't wait.
I know you're excited.
Back to the days of 3-hour meetings.
Good times. No, I mean, I think it's important because, you know, it's like if people wanted to live out, you know, in the township, most of them would. If they wanted to live in a neighborhood with a strict HOA, they probably would. You know, people in town expect like a happy medium. We should do our best to accommodate that. It's just, I just have an issue when it's, you know, even though, I mean, I think there are some yards where it's just like, are we serious? But it's, you know, I just personally have a hard time with it because it's not my yard and it's not my personal aesthetic, so.
Well, and I think, and I agree with you, Megan, I think there's a point where, and I've said this for years, but we have these, you know, impervious surfaces, right? But we've got vehicles that are being parked everywhere but that.
Yeah.
And I've said for years, we should look at whether or not you're gonna allow vehicles just to be parked
Yeah.
in yards. One of the main properties that we're dealing with has vehicles and other items parked all over the yard.
Yeah.
Well, is that something the city wants? Should we be looking at restricting the number of vehicles that can be parked within a yard? That's not on a driveway, not on a parking pad, not on something that is intended to house that sort of thing. I mean, there's other issues there, right? You get vehicles, just from an environmental side of things, you get vehicles parked in a yard that are just set there just because. Now you're running into leaking fluids, oils, you know, car, motor oils, that sort of thing, right? Leaking into the ground because this vehicle is sitting there. So, you know, I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help clean things up and help give clarity to, you know, to our ordinance so that people know and understand what the expectation is. At the end of the day, if you want to have 20 cars on your property and you have a building you can put 20 cars in, more power to you. But should those same 20 cars be allowed to sit in your front yard?
I mean, if something's an actual hazard or whatever, or even if, you know, even with extreme amounts of clutter, if it starts to become an issue with, you know, vermin or infestations or anything, I mean, it's an issue and I can get behind that, but so many things just come down to a matter of taste, and that's where I have a tough time. But we can bang it out in policies and procedures.
And that's where a lot of people's, their opinions are gonna be different than your neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you were to look at it as, if you're gonna have this stuff in your yard, and your neighbor wants to sell, and they're getting their asking price, but then the buyer decides to back out because of the junk in the neighbor's yard, that's gonna bring you the value of your property down. And is that gonna reflect it on your statement and the assessor? Assessor doesn't care.
I mean, it is, but that's, I mean, if you live in some place where you have neighbors, it's the risk that you take. I mean, somebody could buy something next to you and put in like, you know, a graveyard, which brings down property values like crazy. I mean, there's, you know, I mean, you don't, it is what it is, you know, it's the risk that you take. You don't get to tell other people what to do with their property within reason, and it's just, what are we gonna decide in policies and procedures what reason is?
And I think, so I'm just gonna move us along, because we're already at 6:30, and
Yay.
by my calculation, we should be done with the library report by now. That's if the fire department had been here. So I'm gonna move us along, policies, procedures, we'll take that up. Paul, can you give us a 1-minute overview on why we might be buying a new squad car?
Yes, because our first squad car we bought's a piece of junk. So right now, the oldest Dodge is currently sitting at ID Dodge and Chrysler. By all indications, it may need a brand new engine. Every single time that car is run code or has had to be involved in any sort of dynamic driving, we seem to end up with some sort of a major mechanical issue. We're either on the fourth or fifth water pump on it. We've replaced the spark plugs and coil packs in it. I think that's the one that had the water, or the fuel pump that went out. Now it sounds like the cams and the lifters are shot, so they're in the process of discussing with Dodge and getting authorization to replace the engine.
And it's still under warranty, right?
It should still be under warranty. If not, I've talked with Tarek, and we may just be having a conversation with Sam if I don't get cooperation out of Dodge. But my hope is get it fixed, and we'll be coming to council soon with probably a request to replace it with a Ford. As much as I want a Tahoe, right now it looks like they're running at least 12 grand more. So it's kind of a hard pill to swallow to go that high. But then if we could turn around, I mean, the car would have a brand new engine. It'll function just fine in everyday driving by a citizen. So, you know, try and sell it and hopefully get some decent money back from it, so.
Okay. Thank you. We're not asking for anything yet. I just wanted everyone to have the heads up.
What another police department wants.
I wouldn't do that to anybody.
Well,
I,
because you got all that equipment, ain't gonna fit the Ford.
no, but we're gonna take as much of that out as we can. But you know, that could be a council decision, but I will not consciously or ethically sell that to another PD. So, cause honestly, if it was gonna work for another PD, it would still work for us. So,
I have a real fast question for police. We aren't like some of the city units where they're not doing tail light out, expired tabs, the minor offenses. We're still pulling, right?
oh yes.
Headlight out, tail light out. There are some city units that,
That is not us.
okay, good.
My
Window
guys,
tinting and
my guys obviously have the discretion to decide what they're gonna stop. There are no parameters. If it's a
I'm
violation,
not requesting tickets, so fix it.
Yep.
But
Yeah. if it's a violation of the state ordinance or state statutes, we're gonna stop it.
Some of the Twin City units aren't pulling over for minor offenses.
Correct. And we've had conversations with the county attorney's office, Stearns County, for all the differences we've had through the years. You know, I think our working relationship with the county attorney's office now is better than it's probably ever been. And Janelle has made it very clear, her office's standpoint, and it is, we are not the metro, and we have a responsibility to do our job for the communities, so.
Thanks, Paul.
Yep. You guys have any issues if I leave?
Bye.
I didn't know if you needed me for the cat thing or not.
No?
No, we're just gonna put you in charge of the program and
Oh, I've already designated it to
let
Dan.
you deal with it.
We gave it to Public Works.
All right, where are we at with funding for the library?
All right, I've been looking and I've constantly been looking for sources of funding for the library. And as of now, and I, check with Chuck every now and then too, there aren't any grants available. The only thing that is available is the USDA loan. And when I talked to the loan person or the lending person there, she was saying that the interest rate really is fairly competitive with what a bond would be right now or a bank loan. So I asked her, I said, well, what's the advantage? Why would we get a USDA loan? And she said the advantage is that we can go 40 years on it. So that brings down the payment, but the interest rate is still, market competitive.
Well, one of the reasons we went with the architect we did is that they have grant writers on. Are they not also grant searchers?
Yeah, they are grant searchers too,
Okay.
but as of now, they haven't identified a grant for us.
And we
Have they
got
been
a
looking?
projection on what we're looking at.
The next meeting we have, which is coming up next week, they are supposed to have numbers for us. They didn't have numbers last time, but they would this time.
I mean,
And-
one time I heard 4 or 5 million.
That's the range that we're expecting, yeah.
From what I heard, I wasn't at the last meeting, but the one that they built was quite a bit lower, right?
They gave us 3 designs. One of them was about the size that we're looking for, and 2 of them were larger. So we had them focus on the smaller one, and the library board gave him a few tweaks and updates to make on it.
Yeah.
Did we ever get a firm answer from the foundation on how much was raised or what's set aside?
It was 91,000 that was dedicated to the library, and then of course they have discretionary funds, or more likely, they said that once there is a architectural plan in place and a firm amount, then they can do some raising for this project.
That's a goalpost that I think has been continually moved.
Yes, well,
Somebody
it's-
correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a refrain I've been hearing for the last 5 years is,
Yeah.
you need to have more of a plan, you need to have more of a plan. I don't know what kind of more of a plan we can have.
Supposedly, when that was raised, there's still a few $100,000 in pledges that may or may not happen. And that's a hard way to do business. And I feel kind of bad that I gave what I did right now.
So we should look
Could've been
for,
worse.
when is the next library board meeting?
It's next week, next Wednesday.
It's Wednesday?
Wednesday, here, I'll pull it up quick.
So we can look for an update
Why is it
on this
Wednesday and
issue
not Thursday?
at our, not next council meeting, but the latter one in October, yes?
It's Tuesday, actually, the 14th.
Okay. Next Tuesday.
Talking about the library, are they tarring that alleyway?
I haven't seen anything.
Well, I went through there the other day with my golf cart, and there's, like when they tar, you got them strips. Yeah, they're in there. But not all the way, about halfway through. I mean, you should know
Nobody come to me.
I don't drive through alleys.
if I do. Drive through there tomorrow, they're yellow.
Well, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and find out what's going on. Don't make
It's all the way
sense.
from Business 23 to Mill Street. Right behind the Recovery Center.
Yeah.
Well,
Neighbors back there want a paved alley. But they don't.
No, if they're gonna do it, they gotta go through us, don't they?
Well, they do, when I mentioned this to Ron, when he was on, and he said they're gonna wait until we've got direction on the library.
Well, I
So what
drove
are they
through
doing?
there Saturday and there's some yellow, you know, I don't know what you call them, but grading stuff.
Well, I mean, the library, you know, it
I
can
didn't
cost,
see anybody over there surveying or anything.
Yeah, you're right.
it costs $40,000 or it could cost 20 million. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's what the city's gonna kick in and what we're not, and the rest of it's gonna have to come from other sources, and that's just how it is. I mean,
Well, yeah,
it's, you know, it costs what it costs, and it's, you know, just have to keep chipping away at it.
well, at the end of the day, we can either afford it or we can't, I guess.
But I mean, I think that if, you know, it comes up and we get a number and the city says we can, you know, do this much, then that's how it works, you know? The rest of it'll have to come from somewhere else.
All right. We'll look for an update for that at our second meeting in October. I'm gonna jump ahead because I want to cross off some easy stuff so that we have more time for some things that need it. Tara, can you give us a brief overview on the solar farm update?
Yeah, trying to pull this up. Well, I mean, Paul and I went out there today, and maybe Paul, you can give an update because you talked to the guy, but as you can see, they put in the road, it's all fenced in, they have all the stakes in, so it's coming along quite well. I mean, the next step I would say is for them to be putting up the solar panels. However, this is just one of the sites, and they will be doing 2 sites, so this is one of the 2 sites. But it looks like it's almost complete, and you talked to the guy a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I did talk to him, while you were out taking pictures, he says they've got 2,475 panels going up. The only cement part they have out there is where the, underground infrastructure's at. That's all gonna be enclosed. And to tell you the truth, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. But it's impressive, the driveway going in, it even impressed me more, to tell you the truth, because it's all class 5 and they did a lot of dirt work to get that looking good. I mean, there's spots for drainage and everything else, so somebody did that right. But so far it looks good. I'm impressed with it enough.
Good deal. So it's coming along.
Coming along real nice.
All right, housing apartment development update.
All right, we are still waiting on the grant. I just checked in with Chuck today on that. We applied for an infrastructure development grant. This is for Furchy's property out on off Lake Avenue. And they actually reached out to me today too, wondering what's happening with it. The latest Chuck can update me is most likely they will have a meeting, the grant committee, the Minnesota Housing, either October, sometime later this month, or early November, and they'll make a decision on grant. So we probably won't hear from them until sometime in November. If we get the grant, then we can relay that back to them, and they'll make a decision on what they want to do. But it will be on their property. The property that's behind John Deere right now, we still have that same developer kind of toying around with doing something there, but he doesn't have a plan yet.
Didn't we sign it? I mean, wasn't he supposed to have one by now, or that contract?
Oh, yeah, that was, first he was supposed to have a plan for us by March, and that expired, so we don't have an exclusivity with him. He decided to focus on his property instead.
I think it's almost time to just put out a request for proposals for that and see if anybody bites at it.
Yeah,
I have just one comment. What would it cost us to put in the road and the water and sewer and sell the lots like we ended up doing in the last development?
we did ask that question about a year ago, and it'll be at least 2 million, maybe on a little bit higher side than that. I mean, it does make it more attractive to the developer, but we gotta put up some investment first.
Well, then you can get guys that'll come in, even Joe Blow, to buy a lot and build a house.
Similar to what we've seen on South Street, yep.
How many lots would we get?
Not enough to make $2 million.
Well, that's, I know, but 50?
50?
If we got 50 lots, that's 40 grand apiece.
For a lot. To just break even?
Mm-hmm. At $2 million.
Unless you can squeeze more lots on it.
Or you assess some of that cost back to the, whoever's buying it.
Yeah, right.
To what?
A lot of times developers will end up coming up with that money and just dedicate the roads to the city and just build that into the price of their lot.
I mean, I would be in favor of just, like Sean said, maybe put a request for proposal out there and see who's interested. I'm not really in favor at this time to kind of put a lot of money into it and then wait and see how long it takes for it to happen.
Yeah, we've seen what happened out in Amby.
But that is just about full.
It is now.
It is, yeah.
Well, there's a couple in that back part, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, somebody wants to build in town, we gotta have lots available.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't gonna build without road and water and sewer.
All right, this housing incentives I want to talk about with downtown revitalization. Strategic plan, can you update us a little bit, Tarek?
Yeah, the strategic plan, for those of you, and I can't remember, Sean, were you at the, okay. We did meet with, Unite Painesville group that was put together by Holly. And, I guess where we see this headed, or where the group was headed, was they all like the strategic plan that we did for the city about a year and a half ago. And they would like, or they asked about having the same guy come in and updating it, however, updating it, but include a wider group. So include the township, so have unified goals, include the school, possibly the hospital, and any other key stakeholders. So maybe the foundation, maybe someone else, and invite groups or members from those entities to be represented and come up with a revised strategic plan based on that. And then give each group after that, determine who's going to do what. So it doesn't all fall on us. And I did reach out to him. He did give us a proposal. It's $2,900 for him to come in and do the same. It'll be the same style that he did last time, but it'll be a bigger group. And, you know, we're just waiting to hear from the other entities if they're willing to put up their share of covering that cost.
So that's with Phil Kern?
Yep.
Yeah, because the consensus was everybody came and participated in this meeting, and then the city got the report, and everybody else just went, how did this benefit us? So, you know, we sort of committed that the city would pay for, you know, a quarter of it, probably, and do it again. Didn't think that would be an issue with the council,
Yeah,
but
why
we'll
not?
get approval before it happens, so,
Yeah, and give people a chance to speak up too.
yeah.
Yeah. So chamber is involved, township, and possibly school district.
Oh. Can we talk about Channel 8 social media quickly?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I was talking to Kristen, and one thing she was saying that potentially why people hear some crackling sound is some of these microphones have the what do you call it, foamy thing removed, and that adds to it. However, if we want
That's
to
just
get
yours.
if we want to get new mics, I checked online, $200 each.
Can you just get a new phone piece?
Yeah.
If it fits in here, maybe.
Well, you can just buy the replacement phones.
That's
It's
what I'm
just a
saying.
pop
Yeah,
filter.
so the phone thing is, you know, like $6, so we're gonna get those and try them out, see if that makes a difference. If not, then we can look at replacing the microphones.
Okay, but
But I think when we go to YouTube and we listen to it, it's fine. I think it's, if people are listening to Channel 8, that's where they complain about the noise. So
Well,
am I wrong?
I listened to it right on the city, yeah,
I
city
don't know that
website,
I'd call it fine.
and it's pretty crackly.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not great.
so we'll try replacing the covers, see if that works. If not, we'll replace the microphones, but, yeah.
But I still think it would be nice if we could go to a wireless mic at the podium,
Yeah.
so that we don't have that cord drug out across the floor. But I think that's going to be more intense than we thought.
Well, it's just, it was quite spendy, so,
We should just wait for Sam to come up with the wording on it. At least we're gonna be covered.
Yeah, that's not
I think it'd be a good
I
idea
think
then.
it's
Yeah, we'll wait.
sound is fine.
You want to table it though? Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. It's better than I thought it was.
Pardon me? There's no urgency. No, it's not. What is your clock?
All right, 6 o'clock. Bring it on.
Yeah, that might be because of too much distortion there, so we'll try to replace those and see if we get a difference.
Okay.
The other thing is when people speak, please try to speak into a microphone.
Singing random songs or whatever, before we start. That's always-
Okay. But as far as Channel 8 and social media goes, is it time to ditch Channel 8?
I think some people like to watch it, but
Say give it a few more years.
Versus the costs, I mean, what,
How much time is Kristen putting into it every week?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a Kristen question.
how many viewers?
I mean, everybody's still got a computer, you can watch it right on the website. Well, I think it's a waste of,
I think the only people, my concern is that those who wouldn't access it on a computer are probably like Megan's residents.
They can get YouTube on their TV though.
Aren't we trying to be inclusive?
If they ask me to do it, I'll put it on there for them.
But I don't know if anyone in town has got cable TV anymore.
Can we find out somehow?
I mean, we just renegotiated the cable contract with MediaCom. It'd be interesting to know if they've got viewership data for us.
Yeah.
We still have those, we should still have those contacts.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, let's find out.
yeah,
Okay,
let's look into that because that might be a good cut.
the strip of land behind the area center. We're getting back on track here for time, guys.
Yeah. I didn't even know there was a strip of land behind there. Because it must not be very big.
What is that on here for?
Neil put
I
on
asked
there.
Jennifer about it. I believe the area center has it.
I'll
Okay,
show you guys here, hold on. Yeah, the city leases it to the area center, and I think the area center is letting Yarman use it or something like that. I don't know the details of it. I think, Neil, you know more about it, because you're.
Well, I don't know, or if Yarman could be interested in it,
You wanna sell it?
if you ask the area center, oh, no, that's ours. Well, is it
Yeah.
really theirs, or is it
Over to the
the
right.
cities that we could actually do something else with?
Make a lot out of it.
Because I don't see them ever expanding out.
Yeah, there's this strip here, like that.
It's kind of behind Subway and,
Oh, yeah.
See, it says here, City of Painesville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's the green roof parking lot, and then this strip, I think, is what you're referencing, Neil.
So Yarman just.
That's within the city property boundaries?
Yeah, it said, well, here, if you look who the owner is, it's City of Painesville right there.
And Yarman just uses it for free, or do they pay
Well,
the center?
the area center is leasing it from the city, and they're letting Yarman, I think, use
I
it.
think they park some of the.
Where's it in relation to where the liquor store's at right now?
Liquor store 665 right here. Here's
Right
the-
there?
Yep.
So we could almost use that land as part of the liquor store.
I mean, if we ever needed it, but I think we have a long-term lease
No.
with them.
Yeah,
Well, not really. It's not connected.
well, it's, the way it looks here, it looks like it abuts the liquor store property.
No. You've got between the senior center and the liquor store is a big
Like pond?
drain pond.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then you got Yarman behind the liquor store. This is on the north side of Yarman,
Mhm.
behind Subway.
Yep, hang on.
It joins to the parking lot of the senior center. There's a roll of trees,
Yeah, there it is, right there.
yes. You see the roll of evergreens that's on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side of that,
Yep.
right there, yeah.
Well, no, this is magnified, so you're
Maybe
probably talking about this
30,
chunk.
40
right?
feet wide and 40 feet, 50 feet long.
Oh, it's that weird green space between the gravel,
Yep.
magnify, and the trees.
Yep.
You talking this one here or this one here?
The latter one.
This one?
Yep.
But,
And
But
the
I-
city owns that?
no, magnify, that,
So what here's what I'm seeing and hearing. No, go back to the other.
Yeah,
one.
see that chunk there,
I
so.
haven't slept enough of this.
I'm seeing this here.
Text.
Yeah,
Right.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think it goes all the way to the highway.
No, it's landlocked. There's no, it doesn't connect to
so right there, okay.
and
It's kind of landlocked.
so you
Somebody
want to know
is
if the
renting.
The only one it might be of value to is Yarmouth.
Or Subway.
So if the city should sell it to.
But if,
because we own it.
and I'm not sure that they have the right to park vehicles there, or if they're,
Yeah,
So the
But-
area center rents
but
it.
I suppose you'd
How
have to go
much?
back to our agreement with the green roof. What did we give them for $1?
yeah.
Is that what they're leasing for, is $1 a year?
Well, we gave them that property and they built the center.
But not that chunk.
Well, if that's part of the deal, I guess it's theirs.
Okay.
We should find out what the legal description is of the property then.
Well, that part of the property is city-owned. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I think
And I'm not so sure Yarmouth even want to pay anything for it.
maybe not, but you know what? Give it to Yarman and then it becomes taxable.
Yeah, and that'll be the
Yeah,
spot
right
for him to
now
put
it's
his car
taxes,
wash in, or expand or whatever,
Well, you should be able to get something for it.
something for it, yeah.
At one time, they were wanting to build a oil change center or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
I don't think that would probably fit the bill, but I didn't want to talk to Grant until we knew.
Oh,
Yeah,
Go to layers. Scroll down to Stearns County imagery. I don't know how accurate these lines are, but it looks like there are a few cars parked on it now.
Yeah, we don't have to figure it out tonight, I just wanted to bring it up and
I mean,
get it researched.
aren't those Yarman cars that are parked on Subway's land there too?
Yeah, looks like it.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
kind of a dead piece of property in the town.
I would not be opposed with just giving it to Subway and Yarman for little to nothing. 'Cause
Right, to get.
we've got no use for it and then it becomes tax revenue.
I think maybe approaching Yarmouth first, because I think they would probably have a better, I mean, in my opinion, a
Well,
better.
that whole area behind Subway,
Yeah,
It's underutilized.
I think Yarmouth would probably be more apt willing to improve the land over Subway.
Like,
but
that's just my
Subway won't
opinion.
get any more space.
What was that?
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
But, yeah, let's, first, I guess, is, if it's ours, I guess it's ours. I think there's people at the Green Roof that think it's theirs.
Well, the Green Roof doesn't owe any of that.
No.
They own the lot that the building is on. The rest is city property. So that parking lot's on city property.
And the same way with
The new garage.
the drain pond is probably city-owned.
Mm-hmm. All right, bringing back the quarterly meetings of the township, hospital, school, and city. I don't know if, how many of us were still on the council the last time we had one of those. I think it was probably shortly after the pandemic. We tried to have one or two and nobody was showing up, so we just stopped. I mean, my experience from pre-pandemic and after is you might get somebody from the township to show up. The hospital was usually pretty good about coming. The school district might send a board member, and that was it. It just, I mean, honestly, it felt like a waste of time to me.
I think we had more effective meeting and a better turnout when that Phil Kirk put on. Because I was actually surprised at the results of that.
Well, what's the difference between this and like the Unite Painesville thing too? Like,
This would be formally sponsored.
okay.
The Unite Painesville is very citizen-led.
Mhm.
But that being said, this would be, I think, a good topic to discuss as part of that strategic plan. Is that something that the other entities want to bring back? I'm in favor of doing them if we can get commitment from the other entities.
Yeah.
And if they would
Otherwise, it's
host.
just another council meeting in Sling.
Right. Yeah, because that's, I mean, honestly, what it felt like to me was it was just the five of
And I
us would
think
show
twice
up.
a year would be plenty. Doesn't have to be quarterly.
I think that's something to talk about with the strategic plan update.
Sure.
Okay. All right, now as I'm looking at this, we've got about an hour left of our scheduled meeting. Talk about spay-neuter program, housing incentives, the AMPI expansion stuff, Public Works Department, downtown revitalization. Dan, I'm gonna turn to Public Works, because I think you'll take up less time than downtown, and then if you wanna get out of here, you can.
All right. Tree trimming is the top of the list, I guess. So y'all got a flyer. We've gone through this many times and whittled it down to where we think it's a workable program. We're planning on going around to the trees that we plan to trim, give this to them as a door knocker rather than a mailer. Attempt to knock on the door if they're home. Leave this for them. We're gonna sign it, date it, so that they know, okay, it was delivered on this date, you've got 10 days. And then we'll address it as it looks. I think it's as explanatory as it can be. That people should get the point of what we're after, and we're looking for being able to get the equipment down the road.
Yeah, so this came through the Park and Tree Board, really born out of the fact that we're gonna be snow plowing this year and wanting to protect the equipment from branches that are hanging over. And we had talked about what should be done, because there was a push by the public works guys to make sure that if we're gonna go out and prune the trees, they're proud of their work, they wanna do it right, but it hasn't been done for so long that kind of in order to get it done, you're just gonna have to do it the power company way of just slicing and moving on. So I think this was the compromise position we found, is we're gonna do roadway this year. And then over the winter months, the council will work on our tree ordinance. One of the things we talked about is the ordinance right now says 12 feet. We should probably go to 14, I think is the recommendation. And then how much of that falls onto the homeowners for things and how much is the city going to take care of? Under our ordinance, the city shouldn't even be doing this. It should already be done. But historically, we've always done it. So how do we now start sending out bills?
Yeah, these are boulevard trees.
But I've also created another handbill that shows all the things that citizens should be doing, you know, the alleys, the sidewalks, the intersection blockers, so I've got a whole nother
Well,
thing ready to go.
I think you gotta treat that just like we do mowing and snow blowing. It's your responsibility. If it's not done, we send the letter, you got 10 days, city does it, goes on taxes. Cause like alleys, they're a disaster in areas
Yep.
with trees and limbs, and the one alley's actually blocked, where the guy's got limbs down, cause he doesn't want people going through his alley.
So this
I thought they were.
flyer and taking care of the problem for the immediate is the first step, and then we plan to move forward with another phase.
What about dead trees down?
That is covered in our ordinance in,
Well, I mean, same thing, if people got a dead tree and they aren't addressing it,
And
in
they
their
get a
yard,
notice.
they get a letter,
Yeah.
and we end up taking it down and billing them, or
Yep,
not.
yep.
Okay.
I've got a double question. Is the city, it does plow the alleys?
Yep.
Okay, so, and the alley should be treated the same as the streets, as far as overhanging branches or anything?
Yes,
Okay,
but whether we get to the alleys for this go around, for us to be trimming it, I don't know.
yeah,
We might get something that's really in our way,
yeah,
but I'm hoping to put that onto the homeowner because a lot of them are growing into the alleys besides growing over the alleys.
yeah. That'd be a good idea to be on top of that. It's only gonna get worse unless it's addressed.
That's why I've gone through the park board 2 or 3 times now, so we're gonna continue to push on that issue.
Let me ask you this, what would happen if the city decided or the residents were given the option of having them hire their own tree service to take care of it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
Because it's, I mean, if you have 10 days,
yeah,
doesn't say you have to do it yourself.
Either yourself or hire somebody, but if you don't get it done, we do it, you have to pay on your tax.
yeah.
Well, this one says
It's gotta be done either way.
no cost to homeowners in 2025, but after
Mhm.
that. It's a real sunflower problem, some of those alleys, Dan, you gotta take care of that.
So that's something we'll be talking about over the winter months as well, but this is the plan for right now. And I think the council ought to have known about it, because if people are complaining that their trees are trimmed in a gross way, well, that's why the notice is out now. Call DJ and get it booked, or him at our house.
Unless, of course, like you were mentioning earlier, there, Donna was, if there's a problem with the power line.
Yep. So, all right, grass and weeds and stuff, and alleys, sidewalks downtown.
I'm not actually sure what was looking to be addressed there. If there was an issue that I wasn't aware of. We put out letters earlier in the year for people to clean the downtown area, and they did really well in the spring. They cleaned a lot of stuff up. Probably need to put another letter out because things regrew and weren't addressed as readily as they were in the spring.
There are some areas that, well, like the old bank building, you got trees. Is that another thing that if they don't do it, we need to, and
What we did in the spring, tell everybody, and we did go cut some of them, I don't
Because
know.
behind the old bank there, by the eatery, in the back
Okay.
alley,
Yeah.
that's nasty. That whole alley's
We
pretty
went
nasty.
through and cut some of them in that alley, but we might not have gone up against, way up against some of those buildings. Cause you start to get into where can you go and where you can't go, cause if it's growing up around the corner by their apartments up above, and some of that gets a little touchy.
One question, fine, when you send out the citation or the letter to we'll say a business, are you sure that they're their weeds and not the neighbor's weeds? 'Cause I've had this question.
I sent to everybody, and the people that responded the most were the people that had the clean ones.
Okay, so
those
you
people-
automatically send it to everybody?
I did in the spring, I sent to
Okay.
everyone. And the people that had the nicest, cleanest properties were the ones that responded the first and the loudest.
Okay. Did it say on there that you were sending it to everybody? So,
It didn't, but it will in the future,
okay.
because I learned
Then I'll
from
stop the
that.
phone call, yes.
Yep, I learned from that.
Okay, that's what, yeah, 'cause a person had asked me, and I said, I can, time's right, I'll ask.
Yep, that,
There it is.
Okay.
Excuse me.
2027 street project. Presented y'all with a map to show you the areas that we're gonna be working on. They're all in a similar part of town. It's all older clay sewer on each of those projects. One of them has a 4-inch water line on it yet, so that's old. Half of one block there didn't seem to have any utilities in it, so we might have to take a look at that and see what we need to chop that part off. But we have sewer lines in there that we've had issues with already, we've been addressing, so it is areas that need to be addressed because they're already causing us issues. And with the city being so progressive in tackling the infrastructure, which is fantastic, these areas are the ones on top of the list. And would be greatly beneficial to take care of them, because we actually have some in those areas that we go clean out twice a year, and we monitor, and we've had other issues that we've had to pay for.
My only real concern here, Dan, is if we've got Stearns and Washburn over by the hospital, that's cutting off both roads to the hospital. Is that something where we maybe want to split it up into Washburn in 27 and then Stearns in 28, or vice versa, or something like that? Or I just think maybe we should work with the hospital at least on timing, so that
Should be
their
able
access
to.
is preserved.
Dig one, fill it before you move on to the other.
Okay.
So you may not have a paved roadway, but you'd have a gravelled roadway. But that's definitely something we can address in our planning and see if it'll work out. Good thing is we've got plenty of time to address those items.
And because most of this is for the underwater utilities, because the roads themselves are in pretty good shape, right?
You're very fortunate. Every road in town's pretty good shape.
We talked about this, weren't these roads just redone 15 or so years ago?
Probably.
It's just for some whatever reason, the utilities weren't upgraded at the same time. One of the thought is, I'm thinking, we don't want to assess people if they were just assessed not that long ago. I would think that the water and sewer funds should be sufficient to pay for the bulk of this, huh?
Well, you still gotta replace the roadway.
Huh?
So when we go through our assessment program, we'll have to look at the last time that area was assessed, what it was assessed for, and plug that all into the matrix. We're gonna start all that this winter, because it takes a long time to get through that process, so Chuck and I were actually visiting to get started soon, so we can start to address things like that.
Okay.
But definitely good concerns.
Great. How are we doing on the Storm Ponds project?
It's on hold basically, but we've been meeting with the watershed district. Colton and I and Chuck met a couple weeks ago. We were looking at possible grants and funding that could come from the watershed district and a couple other areas. They thought maybe through the watershed district that they could get us money for design, so we could plan it, and it would help us to work with the homeowners if we have a design that could show them what it would actually look like, how it would impact their properties, and the river behind them, because that's the concern of a couple of them, to lose their privacy in their walk areas. There's no monies for actually purchasing the land. That would still be on the city. There just isn't really any avenues for that. But we thought we could move forward with design that would help us in the purchasing. Then if you get through the purchasing, that opens it up to more possibilities for grant money. But it's on a slow pace. It's not a rapid pace right now. It's kind of moving along as the funding becomes possible. Because we don't want to do this program unless we can get it funded.
Okay. How are we doing on plowing?
Snow plowing, I need to get all the trucks DOT'd. That's the next stage. We've got the door, thankfully you guys all approved that. So that should be done in about 2 weeks. They'll have our new overhead door in, then we'll have more freedom to bring the trucks in and out. We can start rolling them, practicing with them, making sure everything's good with them, get them DOT'd, and then we can start moving forward. One thing I brought up to the guys and we've been visiting about is, and we got approval to go out and find drivers, some part-time help to help us out, so that'll be nice. Actually, I don't have official approval yet until,
They went through policies and procedures, it's gotta go through council, but we've got a job description so that we can start hiring. I think you should just post the darn thing. Get it out there.
There you go, Neil.
I was told I have to wait
Let
till
the
council
CDL
meeting.
go.
You can get it back.
This is a council meeting, but I just work here.
Would anybody on the council object to it being posted provisionally?
Snowplow drivers,
Yeah.
as long as you can put the hours available on there. Because that will scare a lot of people.
Well, I think the job description says on call as needed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the nature of being a snowplow driver. You don't control when the snow falls. Contrary to what Marjorie Taylor Greene likes to think.
The one other thing that I brought to the guys is it'd be nice to have radios so that you can contact, especially if you're hiring drivers and you're trying to blow snow into a truck, to be able to communicate with them rather than you don't want to be picking this thing up while people are trying to drive and hollering out the window over a snow blower isn't really going to work. And so we're trying to figure out, they've got cheap radios you can buy on Amazon you can buy 8 of them for $200. We just aren't sure how well they'll work. Some people claim that if you go around a corner, you ain't gonna hear them anymore, but
Well, then get a better one and then transfer to the next truck you get.
Or you spend your $200, you spend some time testing it, and then you send it back to Mr. Bezos. I mean, the Amazon ferry picks up just as easily as it drops off, so.
This is where I'm at. I think we try it, see how it works.
I think that's a great idea. I think it makes sense, and if it's only for as little as $200, that could save us an accident or a claim. We'd be fools not to do it.
So I think we're gonna try that, start on the cheap end. And if it works well enough, it's a mile radius, it's as far out as you're gonna go and paint through.
Especially being new at this, you're gonna wanna keep the communication lines wide open.
Right. You know, you might get that radio, anybody could pick it up, but it doesn't really matter. If they wanna know what we're doing snow plowing, they can listen.
How are we doing on the ponds?
Well, it's kinda up and down. We took a good hit this weekend and the DO dropped out. It took a long time to recover, but we're kinda up and down, getting there. It's a lot better than it was. We had a lot better numbers this month.
Okay.
The surcharge was only 20-some thousand,
27.
Only.
27,000 plus.
That's,
Plus the water usage, which put it up there a little bit. So we're still bringing in money that way. Well, it's not what we really want, but we're getting better than it was. And hopefully we can continue to improve. You know, working with AMPI quite a bit lately between Targ and I and others, and we just made that trip to Wisconsin. So just keep on pushing.
Megan Shu didn't make it, by the way.
It did not.
But my understanding is that we're a lot more confident in that process now with the plan they've presented to us after seeing it.
More confident in the DAF system.
Okay.
Still a lot of details that need to be worked out in sizing of some of the components to match the flow. Because the whole point of it is to have a laminar flow, have like the plant we saw, they were running at 135 gallons a minute consistently. So you don't want to be going to 350 gallons a minute down to 135. So it's all got to be designed so you can hit that flow, which ours would be more like 400 gallons a minute.
It's like 135 is not enough. But
No, ours would be 400 or 500 gallons a minute. But you need to stay there. And you don't want to drop down to 200 either. You want to stay 400 or 500 gallons a minute all the time. So that's the part where it has to be engineered to meet that.
And whose engineer do you trust? Do you trust the MPI's engineer, or do you trust an independent engineer?
Well, they've got their own group.
You know, I know, that's what, why I'm asking this. Is that if Bolton and Mink were to do that, or where you guys went in Green Bay, if their engineers said, okay, you need two of them, but then AMPI is gonna do the same thing with only one, whose engineers do you trust? I'm just looking for direction here, so.
Well, they have to provide us with the numbers.
Yeah.
They have to provide us, here's what we want to build, and here's the numbers we use to come up with this. And then we get to see those numbers and check it for ourselves.
Yep.
So I'll be looking at it,
Okay.
Bolton and Mink will be looking at it.
Okay, good.
I actually drew up a plant already based off of what they told us and put in the numbers that it should be meeting. And as Chuck said, well, they should be doing this, not you.
Yeah.
But, well, they aren't so far, so I just,
Well, I think I'd rather trust your numbers because you're not biased and they are. Because they're the business and you're the public works.
we may know more after the next visit too.
yeah. Where are we at with the SIU amendment?
Sam and I and Chuck worked, well, and Dan too, we sat together, the three of us, and then we just kind of gave it to Sam to look at, but we did send him what we thought would be a a good amendment to use or to put in there, and sent it late or mid to late last week and haven't heard anything from them yet. But, we did discuss with them when we were in Wisconsin that we need to know timelines. You have to fill in some blanks here. And he said, well, I can't tell you what to put yet until we see something from you. So send us something and we'll take it from there. So that's what we did.
Well, the agreement we have is expired, yes?
It's supposedly ended in October.
Right, so.
That's just for the amendment, sorry. The SIU is in place, it's been in place since 2019.
Right, but the amendment was what allowed them to use some of our extra capacity.
Yep, in our amendment that we sent to them, we're going back to our old capacity, so we're not giving them any excess. And then we're charging them the same surcharges, but we're putting them on a timeline with milestones to achieve, and if they don't hit the milestones by the date that they set, then of course surcharges increase. And then if it's not complete by the time they say so in their timeline that they need to provide us, it also increases.
So you got a timeline on the new plant?
They need to give us the dates and we have to agree on it, but we just kind of put in there that we're setting 4 milestones that you need to meet plus a completion date. We did set the completion date of January 1st, 2027.
I would like to have something by our second meeting in October for the council to consider,
Okay?
if possible. Because I don't want that, we don't have an agreement right now. There's nothing out there. You get something in writing. Okay. All right, anything else, Dan, you want us to know from Public Works? How are things going overall?
Good. Busy.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. All right. 37 minutes. I wanted to save, I was hoping we'd have a little bit more time perhaps, but talk about downtown revitalization here. We had a few topics on here: storage facilities, housing, murals, and then I wanted to move the housing incentive up to downtown revitalization because I have an idea in there. Let's start by talking about storage facilities.
Neil?
I guess I asked Jennifer to put that on. How can we stop them? So let's say somebody buys the sewing factory building and wants to put their personal collection in there like we have 2 or 3 of right now. How do we stop that?
So, something I've seen a little bit when I didn't have a whole lot of time, but when I kind of looked around, was that depending on what their business license says when they purchase it, if it's saying like that they're gonna provide this service or they're going to do whatever, and they're not, then the city has in other cities, they've, it's made their business license null and void, so then they don't have.
But aside from a select few, we don't license businesses.
Right, but I mean, if you have, sorry, if the lack of sleep skipped me.
You're okay.
If you have a business license saying that you're gonna operate a business and you're you're zoned to operate a business, but you're not operating a business, then can't the city be like, well, then you can't be here?
So if you're zoned retail, but you're not doing retail,
Yeah,
okay, and you have no revenue showing that you're actually in retail,
yeah,
then there should be some sort of cause for concern. It's either you go to retail.
if it nullifies your business,
Exactly.
nullifies your business
Yeah.
license or whatever.
And then I believe we need to maybe stiffen up on the zoning orders a little bit more.
Because anything that's already here is gonna get grandfathered in, but.
Well,
Unless, I think in that instance, unless you can prove that it's a hazard, obviously, which I think honestly some of the antique stores are gonna be before too long.
So how do you get around from being grandfathered in?
well, I think the issue that we're talking about is the use of the building. We changed our zoning ordinance to prohibit storage. And at the time, it was the old G&T building was sort of the one that was grandfathered in because it was the only one being used as a storage unit.
Mhm.
The antique shop in the old,
Oh, the
Easter
two of us,
days.
the bank
Easter
and
days, thank
Easter
you.
Day.
yeah. I don't want to loop the bank in just because that guy died, so I think that's a little bit of a different scenario. But Easter days, I mean, he wasn't open, I don't think, a single day this summer.
No,
And I mean, at least the year before, I think he tried to open 2 or 3 times and
Mm-hmm.
let people walk through and tried to sell things for 8 times more than they were worth.
With that one, I do feel like since it's attached to the others, that eventually it's going to be a hazard. Because,
Well-
you know, it's like,
So that's where I think, you know, we've got a building inspector.
yes.
yeah.
And those buildings, I mean, the old G&T Foods, you walk past it, you can see mold and stuff like that. You go past Easter days, you can smell the mold on the street. God, those days he did have it open, you couldn't breathe inside the building. I think that's probably where we need to go, is just to have Brad take a close look at those buildings and say, what's happening here?
But my concern is like, in a vacant building, somebody buys, fills it with junk.
I,
So if it prohibits being a storage,
then they would
And
get
when
it.
they buy it, they say, well, we're gonna, kind of like what Corner Drug was. We're gonna,
Have an auctioneer's house out of it.
yeah, or,
which,
like twice as nice, you know, any of that, okay, fine. Well, then, they don't, where do we have teeth to say, you gotta put your place up for sale?
and it is tough because when I was trying to look it up, it was really hard to find what I was looking for. And a lot of articles and things that I could find recommended that cities embrace warehouses because there's so many, with online sales, there are so many stores that are going that way. But there's such a large difference between a store that's actually, or a warehouse that's actually kept up, it's actually used, you know, as opposed to it being, I don't know. It just seemed like I didn't necessarily feel like we should try to go down that road, but, I don't know. It just, yeah.
Well, like the old Easter Days building, if it's been vacant for that long and it's starting to turn into disrepair, you should either have Brad look at it or sublease it out to somebody else that can maybe use it as a business and under C1, like we had talked about in the zoning. Something like that to keep the ball rolling right now, because those inactive businesses are not helping out the downtown area.
Well, and you know, if something is seasonal and it is open all summer long, it's different. If something's only open on weekends, whatever. you
Yeah.
know, It's open, it's do whatever, but it's just the things that aren't open at all. And, yeah, that's.
It's kind of like the old Fulton building, or, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a lumberyard down there.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's
Bill
storage,
Foods
storage
building.
for a business, I suppose. I don't know how much they're using it, but it's,
Storage.
Cronus parts or whatever,
Hmm.
Yeah, are they even in business anymore?
yeah. Well, they're operating up there,
Okay, so they're still using the building down here then?
I believe so.
Okay. Because I guess what I'm trying to get at is when you bring commerce to the area, others will follow. It's that when it becomes stagnant, who's gonna make the first step?
But I agree with no warehousing downtown.
Yeah.
There's plenty of sheds available, the nice new ones out behind Fleet, you could fill that plumb full.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talking about housing, this was tabled from the last council meeting. Some of y'all missed a real fun planning meeting.
I know. I was stepping in shoes muck, didn't get to hear about it.
I think my biggest source of concern from that planning meeting is I don't think that the Downtown Revitalization Committee relayed to the planning board what they maybe meant to relay. Because what I heard from their recommendation differed from what I think the full committee had recommended coming into that meeting. And then what the planning board approved matched what I thought the downtown committee was recommending, but not what the downtown committee said at the meeting. Because
That's why you talked to Jeb?
I haven't talked to Jeb yet.
Okay, well, I talked to you outside, and you had to go talk to Jeb.
Oh, that was about something else.
Oh, then don't worry about it.
I wanted a loan for a classic car.
All right.
There you go.
No, because what I heard from them,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what's the messages that you got?
what I understood their recommendation to be was that they thought that all properties that would be residential exclusive, regardless of whether it's apartment, townhouse, single family, row, whatever you want to call it, if it is 100% exclusive residential housing, it should be a conditional use permit. But if it's something like what we're traditionally seeing, where you've maybe got an apartment above and a storefront below, or maybe a couple of apartments above and storefront below, or one behind, but as long as there's a storefront, that wouldn't necessarily require any sort of permit or anything else. That just falls into the way it is. What the planning board recommended was that all apartment buildings, be it exclusive or not, all apartment buildings get a conditional use permit. And then they said nothing about single-family homes, townhomes, anything like that. But the reason why I got that is that's where things started to get a little heated, where one of the planning board members was talking about that being discrimination if you're just talking about apartments. And, Jeb said, I think it was Jeb, had relayed that, he certainly was not looking at apartments any different, that might have been the term he was using, but what he meant was anything that's, exclusive housing. So that's what I heard from.
Yeah, I don't see why it matters. I mean, no one's gonna put a house downtown in between. I mean,
Right, there are a couple that
But there are some
exist.
down there already,
Yeah, but I just mean, like,
old ones.
Most of the buildings there right now can be converted houses.
a house, yeah. They're not gonna be knocked down house in the place. It's not.
I think too is, some of the information that the chair of the planning, is getting, he's not real clear on what the message is either. And that's where it gets kind of twisted around with, Bill wanting things to go his one way and, not really explaining well, and Jacob being confused with it.
Oh,
I have a question.
I've had a couple of people, I'm just gonna interrupt, because I think you're gonna ask what I'm talking about.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of people raise a concern for me about the potential for a conflict of interest,
That was
since
what I
Bill
was gonna
does
ask.
own a couple of properties downtown.
Yeah.
I had reached out to Sam prior to the meeting, didn't hear back from him beforehand, heard back from him afterwards. And his thought to me was that because that's an advisory board, and because the committee was not dealing with his property specifically, it's not a conflict. Said maybe for optics, it would have been better, but legally, there's no specific conflict there.
Fair enough.
We're in a gray area there because if is it indirectly dealing with his properties or directly?
I'm just-
Either
See what I'm
way,
getting at?
but
Yeah,
either way, it's not like, because the League of Minnesota Cities, it's like you can't vote on something that's gonna, like, at a council level, that's gonna be a final vote. Like, that's gonna benefit you financially. Like, if he's on the plan, he's voting in a way on the planning commission that is gonna benefit him financially, or is attempting to. We all know that, he knows that, I'm sure. But the council can still say no,
Yeah.
so,
And his properties are here, they're grandfathered.
right, and
Well,
I'm
they
sure
are
he,
changing.
but I'm sure he wants more.
And,
If they come up, but again, we can still say no.
the planning board turned him down.
Yeah.
3-2 vote.
Yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, and I think it's a bad look, and I wish that he wouldn't do it.
Well-
But it's legally, I guess I can see what Sam's saying.
Yeah, and just to clarify, what the downtown committee recommended to the planning board was only discussing apartment buildings.
But that's not what they
Apartment,
said at the meeting, though.
that's what was discussed, that's what was in the minutes, and it was discussed at more than one meeting. All they're not talking about housing, they're only talking about apartments are currently an allowed use, and they said change the allowed use to a conditional use, and that's it, for apartments only.
And that's what I'm saying, I think there was some confusion between what they were recommending at the committee meeting and then what came out at the joint meeting. Because that's not what came out at the joint meeting. And I think probably what came out at the joint meeting is more in line with what they would recommend if they had simply, I don't think anybody was conspiring or being malicious. My guess is nobody thought about single-family homes in downtown, because you don't think that there are homes down there.
But how long have they been there? They've been there for quite a while.
Right, so I think probably the intent would have been to just talk about exclusive residential, which is what I had heard.
The way it appears to me is that Bill's trying to get buildings that he can purchase in the downtown area and rent them out to whomever so they can have their people stay there, and kind of circumvent his way around the city council, the city ordinance right now.
Well,
Maybe that's how, back in the old days, it used to work, but it doesn't work that way anymore.
I don't think he can circumvent his way, I mean, you know, the city council can still say no, doesn't matter what he
Oh,
wants.
yeah, I know that. He doesn't like it though.
Well, most people don't. Yeah, most people don't like being told no to something they want to do.
Okay. The last one you were looking at, that.
Yeah, that was the motion that passed right there.
No, that's from July.
Yeah, this is the motion that they made that went to this is to discuss changing from permitted use to conditional use. That's what they're talking about. That's what I mean. These are the minutes, so I don't know where the confusion came that they're talking about residential downtown. Talking about residential was never, ever brought up until the last planning commission.
I get it.
So when we
Came
took
out
it
at
to the
that
public hearing, this was gonna be discussed at the public hearing, only this topic.
I think because somebody didn't like the wording.
Right.
We kept saying apartments, but then we should be calling it housing. But they are apartments in a sense.
Right, the concern was that if you single out apartments, then you are excluding other types of housing, and that's disparate treatment for certain individuals. That was the concern, so that's why it expanded. And we can disagree on whether or not it was disparate treatment, but that's the way the conversation went.
The whole purpose was, in the downtown district, they did not wanna see less commercial or retail space available. They wanted to see same amount of space. If somebody wants to put up an apartment building, then have them come before the planning board and, you know, discuss their case and how they wanna do it, and they can decide then if they wanna allow it or not.
And I think Joe Voss explained that. That was his position on it.
Yeah. Works for me.
And you know, at the end of the day, the conditional makes sense. Let's say somebody bought the old Super Value building and said, I'm gonna build a 3-story apartment here. And why would we wanna say, no, that's not a good idea?
Right.
Right.
But in Joe Voss's eyes, well, we need commercial. And that would not be any commercial, but it's far from commercial now.
Yeah.
But I think
And
it's
that's
not,
why I like the,
yeah, I don't think the intent was to say no if, you know, somebody wanted to come in with an exclusive apartment building, but just bring back some of that control to
Right.
ensure, like, you're not then having.
so you look
50
at it
units
case
of-
by case, and in that situation, it probably makes sense. Probably where the corner drug is, you'd want commercial, cause it's the best commercial visibility in town.
And that's why I think we should leave it commercial. If people want to put up apartments, the buildings, then put
Well,
them
I think it's
in a
okay for
residential
the,
area.
for the planning and council to look at each case and decide.
Yeah, because
Because
my,
in certain cases, it makes sense to just be
yeah,
residential.
well, my feelings are, since we don't have any kind of rental
Which one?
ordinance at
The
all,
last planning?
you know, like
I don't
whenever
think
they
we
tried
posted
and
yet.
that was just a mess and a half.
Yeah.
We don't have any, so there isn't any kind of way to like manage
No.
that, so I don't know, I think the conditional use permit is a good idea.
But I think, as I recall, the motion that was made though at planning was to recommend to the council that all apartments, whether they're exclusive apartments or not, all apartments be conditional use permit. And I don't know that that's the intent.
No,
Because I mean, I'm thinking of things like, Gloria, you have an apartment above the theater, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think under the proposed motion, that would mean that Gloria would have to have a conditional use permit.
well,
But I don't think that reflects what we would intend to happen.
well, wouldn't she be grandfathered in
But
anyway?
yes,
But
but
anybody, yeah.
going forward,
I mean, yeah, no, I get,
Can I say something?
come on up,
sure,
So,
come sit with us, we won't bite that hard.
I'm kind of, okay, so what's kind of going around is that people think that the businesses downtown could be made so that your business could become housing. And I don't know the whole history of this, but that's the concern right now, is that somehow the zoning or whatever would change so that if your business wasn't doing well or whatever, you could all of a sudden make it into housing, some kind of housing. So people are worried that,
they're worried that somebody's gonna come take their business and make it into housing? Or
that people will decide, well, I can make more changing
Oh.
my business into
like another
housing.
business owner would,
So then all of a sudden downtown will just be housing.
Like the existing business owner,
yeah,
your store ain't doing very good, I'm gonna put another
Yeah.
apartment there.
Well, and I mean, I get that, but I also have to disagree with it because, I mean, we go back to chicken and egg. And if you have more people living downtown, there will be more people to then buy things downtown.
but there's only so many buildings.
I-
mean, where
I
are they
get
gonna buy
it.
things if they're all,
No, I
I think the
know.
concern is that, like right now, on a Saturday afternoon, Sunday, nobody's, we're open. And the only people we see are recovery people, going down this way, going that way. But there's nothing open. I mean, maybe the Queen Bee sometimes. But, so there's nothing to draw people. And I think the concern is if you get rid of any more businesses, there's just, you need things for people to come. They need to be able to do 2 or 3 things, I'll go, to this store and I'll go to a movie and I'll go out to eat or something,
Mhm.
So I think that's the
So to
concern.
give you the idea what happened around here 40 years ago, is that the guy who owned the movie theater had the apartment above, and also owned the pizza place in town. So what would happen on a Friday or Saturday night, family would come to town, mom and dad would go, back then it was called the Dog House. The kids would get the money to go to the movie theater, and then go to have pizza after and where the other kids would go to like a basketball game or football game. Go eat pizza, and when they're done, go to the bar, get mom and dad, and they all go home. Kind of the circle that made things around, and made the town life is what it did.
Yeah.
So it didn't necessarily mean that we need to have, well, we had the retail stores in town here, but today's business model for retail stuff is a lot different. You get it all delivered to your house.
Yeah.
But as far as the entertainment part, if you have the parents go to one spot, kids go to another, and kind of make the circle, it's a whole different story. Kind of like when we used to have the carnival downtown.
Yeah.
Parents would, a lot of times they would go on Queen Bee's and eat, someone have a drink, kids would run out of money, they'd come and bug mom and dad, here, I'm having a cold beer or a good meal, here's another $20, and don't come back for an hour.
Yeah.
So on right now.
yeah.
Anyways, but now it's all moved out, so
Yeah.
I don't know, I think somewhere along the way too, we gotta get the chamber kicked in just a little bit more so we can get some better vision.
Yeah.
Right, but like, there's no, I mean, other people were saying, again today, well, what's the incentive for a business to go downtown? Where are they gonna go? I mean, all the buildings are, until we can figure out what we're gonna do.
Even a few years ago, there were 3 antique stores. Now, one of them was hard to breathe in. But
Yeah, yeah.
but now there's one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, yeah, but the other ones are still there,
Yeah.
So it's like if somebody does wanna get like, if somebody really does want to get a business downtown, I'm sure we could figure it out if they, you know, something, but, you know, there's nowhere for them to go. So where, what building is open right now? What building's for sale that somebody could put a
Well,
business?
Joe had a good idea when he opened up the eatery, because it was a start.
Yeah, but now,
Fortunately, his wife got sick and he had to,
yeah,
whatever.
well, she was sick when he started, but
Yep.
he won't sell it, he won't answer his phone, he won't rent it, he won't answer
Mhm.
to anybody that tries to get a hold of him about it, so it doesn't matter if it was a good start, it is what it is now, so,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, what are we gonna do?
I mean, that building should be available,
Should
and
be.
it should be operational.
Mhm.
It's a dirty shame.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
should be, I mean, Tuck should be, like, the Easter day should be, but they're not, so what do we do?
And I
don't
guess,
think-
right, is the boutique store open or closed?
So,
Closed.
new
The
owners.
quilt shop is moving to
Yes,
the
so
boutique.
my question is that with that move, what's gonna happen to Ben Franklin?
Well, that closed a few years ago.
Well, you know what I mean, the old Ben Franklin building, as it were, Sean.
I wondered that, because the sign is already up for the quilt shop, so.
Yeah, so I don't know if, because if, it would be a shame to see that go, but if that ever became available, it sure would be a good package with the rest of the buildings that we're looking at, so.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings me to why I wanted to talk about housing incentives with downtown revitalization stuff. The question on here is housing incentives, do we still need them? And I go back to, I think we still need some sort of small business incentive in the downtown. And I know this is something that we've talked about before, and EDAP has said we're not in the business for granting money, so don't talk to us about it. And I think that's the wrong position to have, especially if we're going to grant money for housing. And I'm not saying housing is wrong, but we do have a downtown business district, and if we want people to be open more,
Yeah,
I mean, it is going to take time to get people used to the fact that, oh, there are businesses that are open on Saturday nights again. We can go downtown. And what kind of grants can we do? We did a no-interest loan program, which
Ended last month.
ended last month and nobody utilized. Gloria utilized it, but I mean, other than that, like, nothing. I mean, I think if we can give out housing incentives for $5,000, why can't we do small business incentives?
I think we can, but I think that there's gonna have to be somewhere for them to go.
I get it, but
I think we need to concentrate on purchasing the properties we wanna purchase and knocking them down, and then getting the Battle Lake guy into building us.
That's a tough question, because you could have somebody come in and wanna open up a shop in the downtown area and have their business model that, you know, they're gonna be getting traffic coming in, only to find out that it's a head shop that's selling, you know, pot pipes and cigarettes. I mean, are you gonna wanna have that?
Sure, it's none of my business.
Well, I understand that, but
I prefer not.
I'd prefer
Well,
not
right, I
because it would
understand,
take
but-
away THC
Yeah.
business from the liquor
I
store.
think you all know how I stand on the
yeah,
whole issue.
yeah, I know.
In our current, our
The law is the
liquor
law,
store,
Neil.
I'm not
Yeah.
in favor of, so.
Law and order, Neil, it's the
Shame to
law.
say that.
your favorite president is going to legalize it here in a few months anyway.
Well.
So.
It's the law. We're all about law and order, Neil. Okay, calm down. Yeah, I would say no because it takes away
I
business.
just wish I was still in the garden.
Yeah.
Oh.
You do that. You just, I would say no because it takes away business from the liquor store, but if somebody wanted to open it instead of an antique store that's closed and molding, I'm all for it. I don't care. But
But I think, I mean, also,
it's not our job to decide
That's what
what
we
goes in a
have.
place.
right, and we have a zoning ordinance that sets forth what can go into these places.
Right.
You know, if it is going to be a tobacco shop or something like that, they do have to get a permit to sell,
Mm-hmm.
and we have control over that.
Yes.
But I don't know what the answer is. Do we need housing incentives? Yes. But, kind of like with small businesses, where are you gonna put a business downtown, because the buildings are full? We're quickly approaching the point with housing where the lots are full. So we need to talk about incentives for denser housing. But
I
I
think-
would kind of be in favor of taking the housing incentives and turning them into some sort of a small business incentive.
I say we give incentives for people to leave their buildings that they're not using.
I'd prefer to use that money to help with our purchases. And once that's accomplished, and we got that big, beautiful building, like my buddy would say, right on the corner with storefronts, do the incentives to get people in that new storefront.
That's not a bad idea.
You know,
Fair enough.
with that housing study that, who was it, Bolton Menga did that, Tarek?
Yeah.
With the people that are migrating to town to work versus those that are here and leaving, it's pretty obvious that we have a housing shortage. So why aren't we trying to push more housing? Because with the housing that comes with the families, secondary businesses will open up.
But my issue with those numbers are, there are a large number of the people who migrate into town to work live 10 or 15 minutes away. They're not moving, they don't want to move, because
No.
why would they?
They're in
You
the
know?
township.
That's a little
So-
misleading.
Yeah.
But if you look at the one, how many people live within 10, 15 miles?
It's a lot
And
of,
how many go out of town to work 10, 15 miles? I think it was about 700 each way.
yeah, so
It's
it's, those
balanced
people
out.
aren't gonna move because it's, you know,
Or you give incentives to current.
Well, you know, if we're giving
businesses
10
to stay
housing
open,
incentives, that's 50,000.
and that-
That'll go a long ways to help us purchase what we want
I wish that.
on the
Well,
corner.
you know, just the raw numbers that you talked about with the, behind the John Deere, you know, with the 2,040 lots, or 50 lots, whatever, 40,000 for a lot. You go anywhere near St. Cloud, or probably from Clearwater, Monticello down to the city, $40,000 for a lot is gonna be cheap.
Yeah, but we're not selling them for 40,000 now, we're selling
But
them for
this is
22.
why that
Exactly what I'm
development
getting at.
sold out, because the lots were very cheap. But there's not gonna be a $20,000 lot anymore.
Just because of the infrastructure part.
Well, those were a repo.
Yeah.
That's why they were reasonable. I mean, 30, 35 is gonna be
Yeah.
probably reasonable.
I'm in favor of using that money to develop that block. And also, it'd be nice if we can do something for the existing businesses that want to stay and would like to be open more, or just, you know, like to remain somewhat solvent.
Did all the businesses get a letter, or did you visit with them about that low interest incentive?
I didn't visit with all of them, but we did have it in the paper and we had it on our Facebook website.
Because there's a lot of buildings, 20,000 would give a nice facelift and
We had a few inquiries, the other business.
stain and paint, and I mean,
But if they're not open and they're not using it,
well, exactly.
they're not gonna wanna,
They're
it's a
deteriorating,
loan.
they're getting full of mold, and
Yeah.
you know what the next step's gonna be.
But that was it, it was a loan, so
It's
I
a
mean,
loan, so
you
if
have
they're
no
not
revenue.
using it, they're not gonna wanna pay back $20,000 for a building they're not using.
Well, you get, for instance, the dental office that was downtown here. They didn't move because they didn't have customers or anything, it was the parking.
Yeah.
So that's why they went up to the old town hall. So that's one thing that.
And he didn't own that building, now he owns it.
Yeah. I think-
But he was leasing, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Right back to chicken and the egg.
We're talking about chickens now?
stop it.
Didn't you bring that up earlier?
I used the analogy, somebody else opened the door.
Oops. Sorry about
Don't
that.
let the hens out.
Okay.
So, I mean, what's gonna be the EDAP reception to talking about this stuff now?
I don't know, they seem, it depends on, you know, I think if we can think of some things that they do care about now and are important to them and tie them in a little bit, like they've kind of softened on daycare a little bit.
Rotate the board members then.
things like that, I think that it would be, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think, yeah, I'd have to think about it, think about how to go about it.
Well, I'd like to explore something. They're the place we need to start.
I mean, they were receptive in, you know, giving a certain amount of money to purchase those buildings, so I think they would want to see redevelopment, for sure.
I mean, there's only so much. One idea that I had was that if we could do like a property tax break, to say if you're open so many hours or certain hours, you could get a property tax break.
Can we do that?
No.
I was like, that sounds great, but it sounds
We-
like something we also can't do.
Well, the answer is yes, but in order to do it, you can only give a tax break on additional taxes. So if we were to have a special taxing district in downtown and raise everybody in downtown's taxes, then we could do rebates on that. But you have to raise everyone's taxes in order for them to agree to get a reduction. So effectively, the answer is no. Is there a way? Technically, yes.
That'd be kind of fun.
But no. So, I mean, I don't know, but maybe we could do something where, I mean, we have water and sewer utilities. Can we give a break on those? I don't know that that would be much of an incentive,
No,
but
that
it
Yeah,
would be
probably
something.
gonna wanna hear that.
I mean, what's your water bill a month?
Not much.
Right,
We get it, what, 3 times a year, 4 times?
4 times a year.
So, yeah, it's,
That's what, $100 a quarter, 150?
you know, lot less.
So Dan's not gonna notice that. I mean, that one, I mean, we saw the surcharges. Dan's not going to notice it. If we have a couple of businesses that are open extra and we offer rebates on that, I think Dan would be okay. We'll tell him to be okay.
He'll live.
But I'd like to see something that we can do. Because right now, nothing is happening, except that we're sitting around this table collecting paychecks.
He doesn't want to talk to me.
Of course
It's
not.
odd. I was like, hey, let's talk about it. No, doesn't want to do it.
Who's that?
Oh, just go to the devil's playground.
Brian Schrammel?
Okay.
I was like, hey, we can talk. No, it's too far gone. All right.
EDAP's gonna take it up?
We can bring it up. I'll need these to support.
What are we, incentives for downtown businesses?
Because every time I bring up
In
grant,
lieu of the house incentives?
Or in addition to, or something?
I mean, I think if we're even just honest about it and we say that we want to do something, but we don't know what, and ask them for their
Yeah.
ideas, you know?
Let's go on a case-by-case basis then.
Lots of them love to talk about.
they
their
will
ideas.
talk about giving out more interest-free loans.
Well,
Well,
and
we
they
can
think-
say that we've tried that and it didn't work and we want to try something else.
We will be reminded that EDAP was established not as a grant organization, but as a business support lending organization.
And we can say, cool.
I'm just saying, I'll need your support.
I'll support you, but I will not support your syrup. But he always brings his own syrup to eat at meetings, it's very sick. But it's, yeah, I mean, that hasn't worked. Like I said, I feel like we could lead off with the fact that they have been supportive of the purchase of those buildings. They've given money towards the purchase of those buildings. We want to see that investment do well, ergo, we need some more money. Open up the pocketbook.
Because right now, I feel like we're just stuck in this, well, we've tried nothing and nothing's worked.
Yeah, well, we tried interest-free loans.
We tried interest-free
I mean,
loans, yes.
I personally feel like we should focus on, we need to get a hold of those buildings and knock them down. But I don't wanna leave the I don't wanna leave those existing business owners in the dust either. I don't want, I wanna do something for them
And
too.
for Brad to look at the buildings, the owner has to let him in.
Mhm.
And he can at least do
And
the
we're fighting
outside.
that right now with the
With what?
second building, right?
No, it's just, I think they're having a tenant issue, that's all. But he's willing to sell, but I just don't like his price.
All right.
I feel like, are there exigent circumstances of some kind? I could create some.
So, I'm gonna move us along. We're supposed to be done by 8.
It is 8.
I know. We've got 2 things left on the agenda, so I'm not gonna cut us short.
I got a football game to watch.
You'll live.
Yeah, we're missing.
We bought Old Corner Drug. It's got a bunch of stickers and stuff in the window. I floated the idea that we should take those, well, 1, we need to take those stickers down. That business is closed. But 2 is I thought we could pay, have maybe one of the graphic design or art classes at the school do something or work with the museum. But I thought it would be cool to get some vinyl that we could put in the glass there on that building. To just show maybe like what that building would have looked like historically. If the history museum has like a picture of the inside of Corner Drug, wouldn't it be cool to have that printed? And then when you walk up there, it'd be like looking through the window into the past.
That would be cool.
Or like a timeline of the history of downtown, and then in the corner of it that just says, you know, like here's what's coming. This building will be torn down in the future to make room for further
It
development.
will be rubble.
Right. But just something to help
Yeah,
improve the blight that's on
What kind
there.
of expense you think that would be?
cheap.
'Cause I mean, it would be
It'd be real cheap.
short term, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can't imagine it'd be more than a few $100s.
My kid could do it with AI in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, the design I think would be
I
nominal.
kinda like this will be new development in the near future, or some type of,
Every time I've ever seen that, it kind of jinxes it though. It never happens.
Well, right, and then you look 50 years down the road, and you're like, look at this new development.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's something we can keep looking into, get pricing on that. And then spay neuter cat program, we talked about this in our last working session a year ago. We have so many cats because Neil keeps feeding them.
Yeah. So
I have a program.
Yep,
Your
we've talked about
program's
that
illegal,
program.
Neil. Stop suggesting illegal things all the time.
Has anyone here, I thought we talked about looking at the U of M's vet school program, and I just couldn't remember where we left off,
I
so.
have not seen anything with, that funding's gone, unfortunately.
Well, maybe we need to pay for some funding, but
I mean, if it could be done cheaply enough, I'd be for
Does,
it, because it's.
Bridgewater vet program have anything?
I don't know. Who wants to take the lead on contacting them?
I'll do it.
Well, I know somebody who's willing to trap them and send them to the Humane Society, but they'll need some funds to get the traps and get the
The
stuff.
Humane Society won't take them.
They will if you, yeah, they will if you socialize them.
Do hire enough
Who's gonna do
Well, don't
that?
they just take strays?
If they are sociable, yes, if
Yeah,
you
no,
tame them.
like, and those aren't, that's why the best option is what people have done in the past, which is just fix them and let them back.
But for sure, yes, for sure, if you trap them and bring them there, they'll fix them.
The best legal option, Neil, stop. I mean, but it is, you know, because it gets, I think that it's worth looking into because it gets out of hand, it can be a public health hazard. It starts to decimate the bird population, which has an effect. I mean,
Takes care of the mice problem, though.
What mice problem?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I tell you, I haven't had one since we've started having a bunch of stray
Exactly.
cats in my
I
neighborhood.
didn't have them before.
I did have that before, so.
Mice.
Yes,
Let's go by the river.
I live right on the river.
River, yeah.
My cats catch mice and snakes.
Yes, they do.
Exactly, mice and
Yeah.
snakes they
That's
catch.
how we eat so well.
There are
So
no
do chickens, we
there
don't
are
have
no
those.
snakes in town.
There are plenty of.
Shut up, there are no snakes in town. This is what I,
Oh, yeah.
this is how I sleep at night, Paul.
Black and yellow garter snakes.
John, I had one in my basement.
You know what, you guys,
Hey.
you are so wrong, it's not even funny.
They both live
And
by
I-
the river, John. That's
Then
fine.
don't think about the bull snakes that are in town.
It's a
There are
river.
none, I don't
Thur-
know.
Thurs-
There are
Thursday,
none.
Thursday and Friday, we were in,
You see that at your grandpa's?
the Eagle Center in,
Where?
Wabasha.
My grandpa's family.
Let's invest in about 1,000 eagles.
Lord.
There are eagles in town today.
Then you'll be all complaining because everybody's got.
That would take
eagle
care of the cat problem,
feces
the
all
mouse
over their
problem, the
stuff.
rat problem, snakes.
This is not Dr.
And then what? Then they get
The
hungry.
cats are taking care of the mice and the snakes.
Yeah, but eagles would do a better job.
Well, let the eagles, you can't touch eagles.
Okay, so I'll call Ridgewater.
Thank you, Megan. Okay.
I can get more info from the Humane Society too to see if they
Thank
like
you.
that.
Tarek will call the Humane Society, Megan will call Ridgewater.
They are not gonna take up with the Humane Society.
Tarek's gonna call anyway.
Okay.
It makes him feel
Okay, so
important.
I have
No,
You
no,
know,
no.
both
I would like to make Tarek feel important.
ring cam, I have a family of raccoons that come, and an opossum.
I love possums.
They're big rats.
Anything else,
Do
people?
you know what the Lyme
We're done.
disease rate is?
Okay, adjourned.